Thanks. Okay.
No, you're okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We're good.
Okay. Meeting called to order at 5:03. Stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Ray.
Todd, Dr. Todd,
You join
Dr. Todd. Here. Let's see, other clerk.
Here.
Dr. Koval. We have the
have adoption of the agenda. At a regular meeting, the board may take action upon an item of business not appearing on the posted agenda if, first, the board publicly identifies the item, and second, one or more of the following occurs. The board, by a majority vote of the full board, decides that an emergency as defined in Government Code Section 54956.5 exists, or upon a decision by a 2/3 vote of the board, or if less than a 2/3 of the board members are present, a unanimous vote of those present, board decides that there is a need to take immediate action, and that the need or action came to the attention of the district after the agenda was posted, or the item was posted on the agenda of a prior meeting of the board, occurring not more than 5 calendar days prior to the date of this meeting, and at the prior meeting, the item was continued to this meeting. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
I
Opposed? The agenda is adopted. Public comment and communication on non-agenda items to include Indian policies and procedures. During this portion of the meeting, members of the public may address the board on matters not on the agenda if such matters are within the subject of the board. Members of the public may address the board regarding items on this agenda immediately prior to their being discussed by the board. Time limits: 3 minutes per speaker, 20 minutes per subject will be imposed by the board president. No person shall initiate charges or complaints against individual employees or students of the district out of public meeting. Okay, having said that, I have mostly, I believe, non-agenda items comments. Katie Todd.
My first time, do I stand back here?
Available.
Thank you.
We're going through this first.
We'll do this first, and then we'll do.
Then we'll go to.
Good evening, everyone. Have letters. I'm speaking on behalf of the HBS staff. So we would like to share the work we've done the past 2 years, make requests to support district-wide training, and share data from a student survey. There's a lot of information. So for board members, I sent you an email. There's a lot of blue links. Please click on them. If anyone would like access to those, you can also let me know. And then email away. Here's some vocab that we think might be useful. 2S stands for two-spirit. 2S LGBTQ+ stands for two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender plus. Queer is an accepted term among the greater two-spirit LGBTQ+. We've got pronoun examples: she, her, he, him, they, them. There is a very powerful set of data about using students' preferred pronouns on their safety. So I encourage you all to look into those and people to do research. The Rainbow Task Force is a professional learning community of HBHS staff, and we meet once a month. In response to violence on our queer population, the Rainbow Task Force was created and has continued to work to improve school culture from the 21-22 school year and into the 22-23 school. During the 21-22 school year, HVHS students completed a survey anonymously. And the hopes of sharing this data is to show that we all have room for growth. So let's see, 20% of our student body is queer. These students report not feeling safe on campus. 44% of them report being bullied over their differences by students. 40% of them express feeling unsafe to use the bathroom. A third of them report being bullied, while adult staff witnessed and did nothing. A quarter of them feel unsafe around adults on campus due to experiences of hearing negative or inappropriate comments about queerness. The survey revealed that students want more queer, safe spaces, more education about the role of queer people in pre-colonization Native societies, posters on campus, easier ways to change names and pronouns, and job opportunities. Based on student input outside of this survey, we're aware that the percentage of queer students on campus is greater than 20%. The Rainbow Task Force has continued to address these results by requesting and supporting continued professional development through the 22-23 school year. The certificated staff engage in training once a month. We also have worked to provide safer bathroom options and much more, which is why there's also a link in the email about all the things we've done and we plan on continuing to do. So here are some concerns HVS staff would like to see addressed. District-wide, what policies can we have to ensure that we're in compliance with AB 1266 and the Fair Education Act? We recommend ongoing district-wide and site-based training. These trainings should educate how to incorporate information about queer people's contribution. They should include information about students' rights and how to support queer student safety. Some things come to mind that according to the California Department of Education, under Article 1, Section 1 of the California Constitution, we KT staff are required to respect students' right to privacy, encompassing the right of non-disclosure about sexual orientation and gender identity. We cannot out students legally. We'd like to see ways to support queer student safety is to learn about what pronouns are and how to use them, and how to respond to situations that arise from bullying and bias. We also ask, what policies can we have to ensure that the athletic staff are properly trained on Title IX to ensure equity in sport for queer students? We ask, what support is given to staff when they act in compliance with AB 1266, the FAIR Act, Article 1, Section 1 of the California Constitution, and Title IX, and they are experiencing pushback, accusations, and bias from other staff, parents, or community members. We thank you for your time and energy. We look forward to your response about our concerns and requests. We'd like to remind board members and all district employees, let me know if I can help you all access this. You are encouraged and invited to the KT district-wide Rainbow Task Force on 4/20/23, 5/18/23. Have a link and the times are from 4 to 5:30. Thank you for your time.
Oh. I was going to do the comments, the public comments. Steve, was your comments were on actual agenda items?
Instead of 5, I should have put 2. I just read that.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. I have noticed, and I may be wrong on this, but I haven't noticed any hiring on the agenda for the last few months. Am I wrong in that, or is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I was wondering why that hasn't occurred for 3 months or all this calendar year, no hiring. Is there a freeze on hiring? Is there some problems?
There's no freeze on the hiring.
Um, I look at some of the advertisements in the paper. One I'd specifically like to bring out was a food handling specialist for Hoop Elementary. 5.95 hours per day. Does anyone know what that means? 5.95. 0.95 is 3 minutes a day. So someone's clocking out 3 minutes before 2, before 3, whatever the thing is. So you can avoid paying fringe benefits, healthcare. To me, that's despicable. Someone must have stayed up long hours figuring out 5.95 hours. On the clock, the 3 minutes, I hope I don't run over it, but it's only 3 minutes to get someone. So is that why people don't apply for jobs or don't get jobs? I don't understand. I see quite a few other ones at 5.8 hours per day. So 0.8, that's 12 minutes. So kind of we look at clocks in 15 minutes maybe, but 12? Well, we're probably taking our lowest paid people and figuring out ways to prevent them from getting health care benefits. I think everyone sitting at this table gets health care benefits. Think about that, please. I think we have a problem here, and I would like to see that remedied, if at all possible. What was she called? The missionary? The missionary gets health care benefits plus a great wage. And people are actually putting out work for you, for our students, and they can't get health care benefits because of 3 minutes or 12 minutes. I would like to see the board discuss that and hopefully rectify it, make things equitable and fair. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, Miss Tina?
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you everyone for hearing me. My name is Tina West. I am the SFA school reading program facilitator at Hoop Elementary School. And I'm here to speak before you tonight to kind of share a little bit of my perspective. I honestly don't know what's going on in our district or our community, but there are some ugly rumors that are going around, and I do my best not to listen to them or participate in them, but the nature of the rumors are such that I need to stand up and let my voice be heard. In our country right now, there is a growing fringe movement with very strong anti-gay and anti-trans feelings. And we need to ensure that we protect Klamath Trinity Joint Unified School District from that sentiment coming into our schools and influencing us. In light of not really knowing what's going on, I still nevertheless need to say that I feel vulnerable and afraid because of the rumor mill, because we don't know, because we just don't know what's happening. And I'm a grown-up. I'm a fully developed, mature, established woman. I can only imagine what this is happening for our youth and how they're feeling right now with hearing and not knowing, understanding what's happening. According to the CDC 2022 survey, 1 out of 5 kids is identifying as non-heterosexual. That is exactly what Katie just shared. 20% of our population is not fitting into that heteronormative narrow window. And so we have to create a system that allows them to feel safe. We know that our two-spirit LGBTQ+ community have some of the highest rates of self-harm, self-loathing, suicide ideation, and follow-through. And if you'll remember, 2 years ago, the Yurok tribe declared a state of emergency because of the prevalence of suicide in the community. And when you look at the intersectionality of our Indigenous community, who are also gay or trans or non-hetero, 1 out of 5 of our kids are vulnerable. We have a moral obligation to create a safe environment for our students and for our staff. I know that one of the things that we have been looking at is this question of decolonization. What does it look like to decolonize our school board, our campuses, our education? Well, this ideas of anti-gay sentiment are a completely colonial construct, 100%. The science is crystal clear. It is not a preference, it's an orientation. And there's no room for personal belief systems, what you might personally believe about something. They have no place in this. Education is the antidote. We need all of KTJUSD to have ongoing professional development on how to interrupt biases when we hear it in our community, in our schools, in our classrooms, to prevent bullying, to create safe spaces, use inclusive language, and to follow the law. We have legal rights for our students and our employees, and we're educating ourselves, and we really need the school board to provide us with a declaration or a board policy stating that Klamath Trinity Joint Unified School District strives to provide a safe environment for Two-Spirit LGBTQ+ students and staff. And we would like to know when we can expect district-wide training so that everyone from the highest to all around has vocabulary to create safe spaces for our kids in our community. And my girlfriend can't be here right now, but she wanted me to say on her behalf that it's not about you, right? It's not about what you think or you wish or you want. It's about the realities. And our peers have made it crystal clear that our students need a safe environment. And the best way to do that is to ensure that all staff have the highest level of ongoing professional development so that we can interrupt the bias and create a safe environment. Thank you.
Ramona? Purple?
Hi. I'm here for similar reasons. This is my 24th year. I'm sorry, got a little emotion hearing that. Thank you. This is my Ramona Sokolow, Sokolow. This is my 24th year teaching. And my 21 of those years I've been in Hoopa. My old school shut down. I left for 3 years and I came back because my heart is here. And I'm now teaching many students, children of my first students. So this, we care deeply about our kids, those of us who teach here. I have been at Hoopa High for 14 years as a special education teacher. Throughout my entire career, I've taught at-risk youth and special ed youth. Those are the most marginalized, ostracized, alienated kids, the highest rate of suicide, dropout, prison, everything. So I've just been a lifelong advocate for the kids that I just completely love and defend. So fast forward at Hoopa High after COVID, after distance learning, we all came back at the high school. Things changed. The population looked different. Fights were erupting, bullying, vandalism, teasing. What was going on? We were saying, so we met at the high school and we started learning. And then I saw my classroom things had changed. My special education classroom, about half my population looked different. And I talked to them. They were acting different. They had changed. And they educated me very quickly that they were part of the rainbow or the queer or the Two-Spirit LGBTQ community. And they were finally becoming themselves. They had time to think with distance learning, away from their peer pressure. So I had all my personal questions and I quickly learned it's none of my business. all my opinions, my thoughts, my judgments, none of my business. I'm here to serve these kids that I have always loved. And as a special ed teacher, we are trained to follow the law. And I quickly learned that there are laws to protect all of our students, including our queer community. And that is our job and our duty to do. At the high school level, we all quickly joined the Rainbow Task Force, as Katie mentioned. I learned that our previous superintendent had created a contract with Queer Humboldt with an expert to train us. What I didn't realize was that it was maybe open. It wasn't mandated. And that is my concern. And that's what I'm here for, is because I'm used to a district that is top down and says, okay, you guys, we've got this change in our population of kids. We need to figure out how to serve all their needs and have everyone be safe, have inclusion for everyone. And what I wanted to say, though, is another reason why I'm so passionate about it. This is because what I learned was several of my students that were new to me, and several students in the general ed were not drinking water or eating food all day for fear of going to the bathroom. Okay, they were not going to the cafeteria. They were afraid of going to the bathroom, either bathroom or their one of choice. That is scary, not drinking water or eating food all day. And that's when I got involved. This is a health and safety issue. Then I learned about the self-injury and the suicidal and the depression and anxiety over all this, over their identity. If we could just throw our bias, our judgment, and our opinions aside and do our job as public servants and serve all our kids and have equality, equity, and inclusion for all, we could be successful and we could move our district forward. So the high school has been working. Captain John joined in with these meetings, but what I've learned is I'm sorry, but no other school has gotten involved in the trainings offered by Queer Humboldt. Okay, so other schools have not been a part of this, so we cannot change if the elementary school people don't get educated. This includes offices, office staff, coaches, classifieds, everyone at every level, because there's so many details that I did not know. I was ignorant, and I still am. Okay, my daughter and my nieces and nephews, they educate me. This isn't going away. This is our community. These are our children becoming who they are, and either we accept it or we deny it, but they're not going to change. But the violence and the self-injury and the suicide will increase, and that's what worries me, because these are all our children. The answer is education for all. It's not happening. Okay, and so my request is that you all from top down say, this is our new focus. We've done trauma-informed management for what, 6 years? We've done a lot. We've had intensive trainings, and then we had monthly or at the beginning of the year, throughout the year, with great trainings. We've got everyone on board almost. There's still training we need on that. I feel like we need to focus our shift on the issue at hand. We've got schools where administrators and staff members and people are spreading inaccuracies and untruths, and now it's spreading amongst the children and becoming a scary, unsafe situation at some schools. And the one administrator that was recognizing at the beginning of this year, wow, we need to do some things. We need to make sure all our kids are safe and included, is now on leave. So I'm scared. I am scared for our children, and I'm scared for our staff at this point. So I emailed you all with a list of my suggestions, and the list keeps growing, but we don't have a professional development committee this year or curriculum committee. We used to have them. I was on them. Those were the committees that drove the training, drove the materials used. We need to bring those back. I would totally be back on it, of course, and like all these ideas, but we don't have any one or committee driving it. So my request to you is that you all set the tone. This needs to be our focus for our school, to educate everybody. We have a lot to learn. And then to know what to follow, because there are laws, just as in special ed, we have to follow the law. We have laws for our kids of the two-spirit LGBTQ community. We have laws, and for our teachers and adults of the community as well. So that's what I'm asking, is that you guys set the tone and that you mandate that every principal at every site start these trainings. There are monthly. I mean, the expert at Queer Humboldt is offering to come whenever, but he has to be called. We have other people. There's a lot of suggestions, but at this point, we need to have the principals on board with making this happen. It can be monthly, it can be weekly, whatever. But I'm pretty concerned that nothing's happening right now except for at the high school level. So that is all I have to say.
Thank you, everyone. Tammy.
Good evening, everybody. Sammy Casada, high school teacher here at Hoopa Valley High School. I'm just coming to tell you, here to share that Hoopa Valley High School has been going on over 4 weeks without an administrator. And our students do not have a whole administrative staff on their campus. What I'm asking for is a timeline of efforts that are being put forth on a supposed investigation. And what I'm asking for is to make our campus whole again. Thank you.
Robert Anderson, I think this is compliance.
Fair.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for this time to address the board and everyone who's spoken already. My concern is that we comply as a district to the Health Care Act. And in the high school, we have clear behavior code involving sexual conduct and sexual misconduct. That language is written irrespective of students who are involved. But there's a perception and a sense that holding hands in the hallway, that teachers usually would just look the other way, you know, maybe a kiss, a peck when somebody's going to the classroom. That's standard. It's like, okay, this is high school. But if the students are of the same gender, or if the students are trans, that suddenly staff has a different expectation of how they're supposed to respond to what is not a violation of her behavior. I mean, that is a very dangerous path to head down, since a different set of rules. Imagine we had a parent who, for their own particular attitude, was opposed to their child being in a mixed relationship between me and the native. Should I think twice about when I see them holding hands in the hall? Because the angry parent might get my boss, my case. I should have done something. I should have interrupted it. In the worst of all possible worlds, I'm standing in front of a gun to protect our kids. To be queer is not to be mentally ill. When they're talking about suicide ideation, that is not innate to orientation or gender. It has everything to do with being a pariah in your home, your school, and your community. I'm standing in front of that gun now. Please fix this. Give us a clear statement that we are following the same rules about who our students are, so that they know that they're safe and they're loved. Because I'm not going to look behind me for the kids that I protect. And I shouldn't have to look behind me for the administrators who are supporting them. Thank you.
Trish? Yes.
Can we do it right now?
Are you speaking on an agenda item?
Yeah.
So you want to wait until after?
Yeah, I can.
Well, she's speaking on an agenda. So she will be after.
She might do something on the section.
Oh,
Can we
okay.
do it now?
Is it a closed session item?
It might be.
Okay. Sure.
Good evening. I emailed you all a copy of what I'm about to read, but I do want to read my letters that I sent you, so it's on the record. I'm addressing you all this evening because over the past few months, I've heard rumors about my position being eliminated at the end of this year. I'm currently the outreach consultant for alternative education at Captain John High School. I'm also the McKinney-Vento foster youth liaison for our site, which means I'm the go-to for our homeless and foster students. When the agenda was posted for the previous meeting and also this meeting, I saw the resolution to eliminate positions, and at the very top was an outreach position, which is my post is the most vulnerable in my opinion. I'd like to make an argument for keeping my position as I feel it's necessary for the community as a whole. To take away an outreach position from the students who are suffering the most, those who are the highest of high-risk kids in our community, does not make any sense. They're at Captain John because either mainstream education does not work for them, they're credit deficient, they don't have a fixed home or a couch surfing, or they're at risk of dropping out altogether. Almost always it's a combination of all these things. These kids don't come to school regularly, but when they do show up, even sporadically, the results are amazing. They produce, they participate, they start to change their own lives. My job is to work with these students, connect with them in some way, and to help them see there's more to life than what they're currently going through and help them graduate. These are the kids that most people give up on, sadly, but I refuse to give up on them, and I'm hoping our board doesn't as well. I know attendance and ADA are an issue at Captain John, and they always will be. We do not take traditional attendance. We're an alternative education school. Full-time attendance is defined as 15 hours per week. I'm sure there's some kind of formula the state uses for alternative education, for general ed, for ADA, but with these kids, attendance statistics mean less than at a regular school. Lack of attendance should never mean taking away services from students, especially services that are focused on getting these kids to school. If that's the case, then that's saying that because these kids are struggling to get to school, they don't get help to get here. With my help, they get here more often, and taking away my position would affect attendance even more. Since being in this position, I've been able to spend time identifying and helping our McKinney-Vento foster youth who would have otherwise fallen through the cracks. In the 2019-20 school year, prior to me coming back to Captain John, the impaction rate at Captain John for McKinney-Vento was 6.12%. The state average for that year was 3.9%. Impaction rate is how many foster youth or McKinney-Vento versus total population. For example, if we had one McKinney-Vento out of 40 total students, that would give us an impaction rate of 3.33%, which is almost the same as the state average. I came back in the middle of the 2021 school year. That year, due to being able to connect and work with students, I was able to identify more McKinney-Vento students. Our impaction rate that year was 16.9%, which is almost 3 times the previous year and much higher than the state average of 3.1%. Last year was my first full year in the position. I was able to work with and identify even more students of need. Our impaction rate for the 21-22 school year was 41.42%. The state average for that year, 2.9%. I obtained all of this information from the Humboldt County Office of Education. Our current McKinney-Vento impaction rate is 39.58%. With numbers this high, we could easily qualify for grants to fund positions that would help with further identification. That being said, I have heard that there will be an additional outreach position created at Hoopa Elementary. While I will be the first one shouting that they do need more help, taking the outreach from CJ, a school with such high need, just to create a new position at another school that is also high need, feels a lot like robbing Peter to pay Paul. It just transfers the need from one school to another, leaving a lack of help in one of the schools that needs it most. Instead of eliminating positions, we should be creating more outreach because the need is so high at every school. We are barely treading water. If you remove the outreach from Captain John, who's able to take these duties, or will these students go back to falling through the cracks? In addition to that work, I also work with all students to find an educational plan that will work for that individual student and make sure that all of their needs are met. When a student transfers to CJ, I do a credit evaluation for them and show them in terms easier than reading a transcript where their credits are and what credits they still need. We then come up with a plan based on the student's goals and needs. Do they want to go back to the high school? And if so, which semester? Do they have their own transportation? Are they interested in working? We go through several different scenarios and then make goals and plans to achieve these goals. I check in with them periodically throughout their time at CJ to help keep them on track. At semester, if they've elected to stay with us, I do another credit evaluation and we reevaluate their plan and make adjustments as needed. I do this for all students at Captain John, not just the McKinney-Vento and foster youth. For those who are McKinney-Vento and foster youth, in addition to creating an individual plan, I work directly with their social workers as well as any other agency that's working with that student. After every meeting with a student, their parent, or agency, I log the information covered in ARIES so that there's a record of what work has been done with each student. When I look at the resolution, it says the positions are being eliminated due to lack of work, lack of funds, compliance with the seniority requirements of the Ed Code. I know that there's no lack of work here, and I'm fairly certain that the last reason is only for certificated, which leaves lack of funds being presented as a reason for eliminating this position. The most basic question is, how was this position funded before? I know for a while it was through the SB 68 grant, but even after the grant was ended, the position was still here. Currently, our site plan says that we will maintain an outreach position. Also, the LCAP states, Action 2.3, that outreach consultants will be maintained in the effort to focus on student health and wellness, engagement, and attendance across our district. Across our district, to me, means all sites. I do understand that the downriver outreach position has not been filled, and that is horrible, but why take away from a school that already has one? The fact that keeping outreach is in our site plan as well as the LCAP shows our stakeholders want the position here for our kids. Between SPSAs, LCAP, LCFF, Title I, and McKinney-Vento foster funds, I'm sure there's a way to pay for direct services to students. We also have a community school grant that I'm aware has funding to support McKinney-Vento and foster youth. In conclusion, I'm asking that you do not eliminate the outreach position from Captain John High School. Even if the person filling the position is not me, these kids need and deserve these services. I cannot see how the district could tell the community that they do not see any justification or reason to make outreach at Captain John a priority and fight to get this position. I understand that funding is hard right now, but there are several sources and some we haven't even tried to pursue. If this position is taken away, there really isn't anyone at Captain John or Hoopa High School who is able to take on even more than what they're already doing. I thank you for the time to listen to me and consider my position. I hope that a reasonable solution can be found for the betterment of these students' lives.
Then.
Hi, my name is Glenn Yvar. I'm a grandparent of 2 high school students at Hoopa High. And while they may not be gay, some of their friends are, some of their best teachers are, their coaches, their teachers, I mean, you know, and they feel unsafe. They feel unsafe for their friends. They feel sad for their teachers, their coaches, their bus drivers. And if we're being biased against a group of people, it not only affects that group, it affects all of the kids. And my kids are really upset. They don't understand how this could happen to their principal, how this could happen to their friends. They worry for their teachers, their coaches, and their bus drivers. So I hope you take that into consideration because it doesn't only affect one group, it affects everybody when we're biased. Thank you.
Donna? Donna?
I don't think you want to go into
Okay,
it. I do.
I'll take it by. Tasha James. Tasha? Oh, okay.
I agree. Hey, Gillette, now Tasha. Good evening, everybody. My name is Tasha James. Some of you may know me by my maiden name, Tasha Norton. I am here because I'm an ally for the Two-Spirit and LGBTQ+ community. My husband and I moved back to Hoopa from Sacramento 8 months ago. As I was living in Sacramento, I was working in suicide prevention and intervention and drug and alcohol prevention with our Native youth. I want to give you some statistics of the research that I have done, and a fair warning, some of the statistics might be a little triggering. According to a national survey where they surveyed 34,000 youth, LGBTQ youth are more than 4 times likely to attempt suicide than their peers. And with that, Native suicide rates are 21% more than their non-Native counterparts. What is the school and community doing to make sure that our youth do not end up as another statistic, or even worse, dead? Also, in another survey from 2017 titled National School Climate Survey, 23,001 LGBTQ middle schooler and high schoolers reported nearly 2/3 of Native and Indigenous LGBT students, so that's 65%, felt unsafe at school because of their sexual orientation. And only 1/3 of Native and Indigenous LGBTQ students, 33.6%, reported having somewhat or very supportive school administration. As I'm aware, 2017 was some years ago. However, the statistics are more than likely have increased. And that is concerning, as we are not doing our due diligence to protect our youth. As I'm sure everybody in this room is well aware that we have social economical challenges within our river communities. With that, it adds an extra burden to our youth. When I worked for social services, there were times when we'd go into a house and there was no food in the fridge. That coming to school was the only meals these kids got. To add another layer of burdens and stress to a youth, all because of their sexual orientation, because who they choose to have a crush on, because who they choose to hold hands with, or who they choose to love, is doing an injustice and damage to our kids. When kids aren't getting the love and support at home that they are supposed to be receiving, they look to coming to school to receive that love and support from their friends, their teachers, school staff, school administrators. Those people are supposed to be the people that replace that love and support when their own parents are incapable of that due to whatever traumas that they have. We are not keeping our kids safe or providing them the love and support that they need. So what I ask is there be some policies and procedures to support the LGBT youth, staff, and community, so we don't become another statistic, or we don't lose anybody to self-harm or death by suicide. What I ask is that these policies and procedures make everybody have a right to feel safe and loved. Sadia Wakla.
I do want to say something. I can't sit back and listen to this, because I have heard rumors now. This is rumor from another administrator's mouth that is sitting someplace, being an administrator and talking garbage about my niece. Some of her employees are doing so. And that administrator is still working. Why? Why isn't she put on leave? Because the gossip that's coming is ugly, and it's coming from that side. And I'm asking this board to treat your employees equal. That's what needs to be done, or we're gonna bring hell to this community. I already talked to somebody for national stuff. This is unfair. And you gotta treat it like, if you're gonna take one out, you gotta take another one out.
And you have to take us all out.
But yeah, because we're not gonna go away.
We're heavy.
Exactly, and not only that, this administrator is continuing to talk trash.
To the community.
Exactly.
We aren't able to document
And I have another little story of why I feel so strong about this. I had a nephew that was queer. Even me wasn't educated about that. It was kind of like, okay. He grew up in a hell world here in Hoopa. He finally got enough money to move to San Francisco where he thought he could be safe and happy. He went down there, he struggled, he died there. But he had to go that far to not hide his identity. Let's not do that to more of our students here. Last summer, I spent some time with the two girls that's in question. Those parents knew that there was a relationship, both of those parents. And I knew it because I visited with those girls. And I'm not going to hold back. We've got to treat our students equal. We've got to treat our administrators equal, our teachers, our bus drivers, or whoever. We've got a queer bus driver that's driving my kids. She feels threatened right now. We've got another one in Willow Creek that's driving, kids also. She's feeling threatened right now. She's been talked to by that administrator about this issue, not this issue that I'm talking about, but the queer issue. We've had a person come here in that same family saying that Native American people's religion is a cult. And now, they're being supported. They're being supported by this so-called Christian. I don't think they know what Christian is. My brother always said, when Christians came here, they came with a gun in one hand and a Bible in the other, and damn near wiped us out. So think about it. Think about treating everybody fair.
That to my mother, please.
That's all I will,
We have a lady here.
oh, okay.
I'm not, but do I need to go to my phone?
You can send it
Yes.
there if you want.
Too soft.
I'm the mother of a baby girl born in 1971. And she didn't identify with a particular gender or sexual orientation until late in high school, early in college. She had kind of a fluid identity and orientation. She dated boys, she dated women. She didn't know for a long time. She decided, I'm probably going to end up in a long-term relationship with a woman. And ultimately she did. They're legally married in the state of California. They're both credentialed teachers in the state of California. But like others have suggested here, my daughter, who was raised in a very traditional family, danced in the dances, honored her native spirituality, and was an exemplary student and athlete, left. She said, I don't know whether it's worse to live in Humboldt County as an Indian or a gay person, but it's intolerable as both. At that time, this was the 90s. We're talking almost 30 years ago. I lost my daughter because she had to live someplace, San Francisco, where nobody cares. Nobody, who cares?
It's not anybody's business who you love, who you marry. We're not, imposing it on anybody. It's not contagious. No. And when she came out to me, my question as a mother was, what do I need to know to not sound like the most ignorant human being in the world? And she said, you need to know it's not a choice. The only choice we have is whether we're going to live our lives with integrity. Are we going to be who we are? And she was grateful that she was raised in a family that adored her because she was the genuine person she was. Always, Beautiful human being. Dedicated her life to teaching. And so has her wife. Okay. So in my family, there has been acceptance for generations. There has been love for generations. And in my mind, that's as it should be. Now, I have asked that material be put in your board packets because, up until just recently, I thought we fought all these anti-gay, protect gays battles in the 70s and in the 80s. And that's when there was this huge, movement against particularly gay teachers. Like, oh my God, you're not going to let them be in school with their kids. California was especially targeted because California has been at the forefront of laws, including education codes, that honor the spirit of the civil rights movement and keep expanding and getting more and more specific about who exactly is entitled to equal rights. Everybody who's human, basically. Okay. And here we are almost 30 years later, begging a school board to protect people who are either LGBTQ plus or allies of those people, protect them. This seems ridiculous, and I couldn't understand the attacks that are current. When I heard the words that are in the rumor mill, the words, I was like, so people who are complying with the education code at Yucca Valley High School are being accused of grooming, indoctrinating, molesting, or allowing molesting. Why? Because two students of the same gender, thank you, Mr. Anderson, held hands or something, hugged. What has come of the progress we thought we made? I feel ashamed on behalf of our community that we didn't recognize the danger sooner, because now people I love very much, including my granddaughter and the lovely girl she loves, are hurt and being tormented and being called names. My granddaughter, who's about to be the valedictorian of your high school, who's an all-county athlete, who was just honored by Humboldt County Office of Education as a stellar student countywide, is being called a predator by an adult administrator in this school district to people at her school who are then warning kids, stay away from her, stay away from my granddaughter. You can think that you're keeping a matter confidential, but this is a very small community, and the rumor mill is rampant. And I asked for these words, for these articles. There's 3 articles in there that talk about the resurgence of an anti-gay movement and the big lie of grooming. It's Ron DeSantis on steroids. And it's nationwide. It's not just Florida. It's in Willow Creek and Hoopa. It's dangerous. It hurts people. And I tried to tell you that at the meeting a month ago. People are getting hurt. And all I had to do, when I heard the outlandish, outrageous, vicious language is so high impact, all I had to do is go to my computer and put in false accusations of grooming against California school teachers. That's what I put in the search bar. I didn't know what else to put in the search bar. And I mean, there's hundreds of articles about it. I chose one for you by NPR, National Public Radio. Another one by the Anti-Defamation League. And another one by a federal agency. This stuff is real, and we can't just pretend like it's somewhere else. People are bringing their personal politics and beliefs into our schools where it's illegal. It's discriminatory, it's bigoted, it's against the law, and it needs to stop. I don't want to lose another member of my family who can't tolerate us because we don't tolerate them. We're losing people we love. It's dangerous.
Thank you for this. Superintendent's reports, we are on number 4 report.
Okay, so moving on through the town hall, I have 3 principals here tonight. I have Dr. Kimball, I have Aaron Moya, and I have Mr. Bex. Yes.
I did not get a chance to speak.
Oh, sorry, we didn't. She's got the cards. I'm not. Oh, and I have Karen Cole. Thank you, Karen. I saw you. Oh, and Jason just came in. Why aren't they all here?
My aunt and my mother who just spoke. When you asked me last month what my posters were about, and I told you I am tired of losing. I'm tired of losing people in my family. I'm tired of losing people in my community. My bridesmaid does not live here because she does not feel safe living here because of her orientation. She's a Hoopa High graduate. She's a Stanford University graduate. We would be lucky to have that Native person in our community, but she doesn't feel safe. I'm trying to educate you, but I want you to educate yourselves. I want you as a board to direct your superintendent to mandate the training for all staff, classified and certificate.
Including subs.
Anybody who is in contact with our students. You yourselves. So you are aware of not just who in your family may not designate themselves as heterosexual. Like my Aunt Sue said, when she was told by her daughter, she wanted to know, how can I relate to you? What my mother said, how she felt with my cousin and how she didn't know how to relate to him at that time. We need that training. We need to have our I didn't know, I wasn't aware until recently that we no longer had a district training committee to decide what training our staff was going to be. What the professional development was. Those, thank you for the words.
My other thing is, as Mr. Burbank said, we haven't hired anybody, but I noticed on my board packet and have noticed in other documents that what I thought was an interim superintendent is now identified as a superintendent, and I don't remember seeing that job advertised. I don't, as an IPP member, I don't remember seeing any interview happening for that position. I thank you. I really do thank you. Truly, for stepping up and doing what you've done. But that doesn't mean that we can't continue to follow the rules. And I'm asking the board again, if this is the choice that you want, and there are a lot of people in our community who do want, let's make it right, let's make it official. Let's advertise it, let's interview for it. Let's make it right. As far as the other positions that are being eliminated, give us the time. We have been talking about, and I know some of you have been aware that the Hoopa Site Council, Indian Education, we have been talking about parent training to get people in our community able to pass the exam to become employed with the district. Give us the time to do that. Do not eliminate the positions, because we all know how hard it is to get those positions back. Give us the time. It may not be happening as fast as you want it to, but there are things that you guys are doing that aren't happening as fast as we want it to either. Go through that packet, and Jennifer and Carmi, I did include you, and I'm not sure if you did get the packets. Go through that packet. Please don't roll your eyes at me, you know that just does nothing but irritate me. Oh, that's the level of respect that you're giving me when you roll your eyes.
I disagree, sorry. Trying my best.
I know you had a hard day. I know you had a hard day. But think of the students that have had the hard day. Think of the administrators who have had a hard day. Think of the administrators who want to be at their job and contribute to our community. We need to stop bullying at all levels, as far as even rolling your eyes or picking who you want in what position and who you may want to not have a position because of their sexual orientation, because of their religious beliefs, because of their race, because of whatever. We need all of that to go away in order to do what we are here to do. We are here to educate our students and provide the safest environment for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this is to the, yes.
Mr. Burbank.
Are we talking about the positions that are being eliminated a little later? Or are we talking about them? And I also wanted to do the one that was coming later. Kind of taking off of what I said earlier about advertising and hiring. In the recent paper, you've had advertisements for a behavioral specialist. A behavioral specialist is being cut out. You've had advertising for a literacy paraprofessional. That is also being eliminated, but you've had advertisements in the paper last week. I haven't had this week's paper yet, so this is out today. Registered nurse, advertising for that and cutting it out. Instructional assistants, really handicapped, who cut out, yet advertised. people that apply for a job, that's a stressful time. Thinking about it creates stress. Hoping for an interview creates stress. What research might I have to do so I can be prepared to do well on my application, to give you a good interview? You're advertising for these positions, and then on this meeting, you're gonna cut them out. Come on, it doesn't say on there exactly where these are, but it just seems like we're doing this on one hand, trying to recruit, we're doing on another hand, trying to get rid of. I don't see the connectivity between the two. It just does not seem fair to the applicants, again, creating stress. I've been involved with many interviews, and I very seldom see that person comes in with so relaxed, so confident. They're worried, they're hoping for a job. And it starts at that advertising level. If you're gonna cut jobs out, why advertise? It just does not seem congruent, at least with my faulty logic. That's all I have to say on that one. Another one, though, these people have spoke so eloquently about LGBTQ, Two-Spirit and all. I'm gonna own my ignorance. I'm not very knowledgeable about this, especially when it comes to the pronouns. I'm lost. I'm not a teacher. I'm not an administrator. I'm just a community member. I would suggest to the board, when you do this, invite community members, invite tribes to come and have a community-wide, because if I'm an ignorant community person, I might inadvertently pass something on that I wish not to because I'm ignorant, because I don't know. Those who spoke, wow, awesome. Thank you very much. It helps me. But there's a lot I still have to know as a community member. Thank you.
So we're to the town hall portion of the meeting. During the town hall portion, you may address any of my principals that are here this evening. I had Mr. Beckstead, Ms. Moya. Before and past, we had them come up to the mic and speak. That seemed to take a long time. Still of the audience, you want to hear them speak? We can hear them speak. Or we can leave it to question and answer. Okay, so we're going to start with the wellness center not here. I'm here. Oh, wellness center. Yeah, and we're doing just a brief summary.
Right. If you want the detailed version, read the report. But the thing that I mostly want to highlight is the wellness website, which is ready to publish, have a link, ready to go, at least the first part of it. It's chock full of resources for everybody, staff, students, families, a lot of information for self-help, coping strategies, just a really large range of things. Inside my report, I did some screenshots of some pages. That's what I want to share. The website will be published soon. I sent an email out to Rico this evening saying that we'd like to replace the link, the current health and wellness link, with this Google website.
Thank you. Any of the program components, anything that she's doing, anything that she's not doing? Anybody have a comment?
I'm just thinking, regarding everything, a lot of us have shared tonight. Seems like the wellness center, there's so much incredible stuff that you guys offer, but maybe there could be some kind of partnership with the district with how we move forward with educating and educating all. What changes for the population? We're not changing with this openness, with everything we talked about. I mean, it would be nice to have some kind of change. I'm not sure if it's how.
Well, what comes to mind right away is I heard a request about terminology, definitions, pronouns, resources. I heard a wide range of things, and all of that was sent to our contractor who's developing, including national websites, local resources. I suggested some videos that I particularly like that address a range of general concerns, but more importantly, just offer a deeper understanding. So yes, I'm happy to be involved in this. Yes.
The way we're built, we kind of notice when the car doesn't start and are less grateful when it does. So I wanted to take this opportunity to put a huge shout out to what you're doing as a high school teacher. I started 14 years ago and we were in mental health and support. And we saw kids struggling, we knew it was more than you could deal with in the periods, and there was just really nowhere you could get kids access to the support they needed. Since having wellness has been so important for our kids' lives and their outcomes. So thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you. We're really proud. We've developed almost 40 partnerships having to do with physical health, sexual health, mental health, and substance use prevention. Every day I'm getting calls and emails from agencies on the coast or local ones wanting to be involved in some way in supporting our students. So I feel like there is so much more work that we can still do. Yes.
I'm curious, for health packets, does that, or like health curriculum, does that would not come from you, does that come from the board? Because I know at certain sites, there's no health curriculum at all.
That's correct. That wouldn't come from me, but what does come from the wellness center or the wellness system is sexual health, health related to like communicable diseases. We, of course, do education about hygiene and, issues related to self-care. And so not curriculum in the way of that you would have in the classroom. Though Planned Parenthood, I do have some resources on the website that are specific to Planned Parenthood and teachers. Activities, there's also, I sent a link specific to activities that teachers could do in the classroom to, again, educate students about, again, pronouns, definitions, respect, being open to learning about other relationships, and being able to speak confidently and inclusive, right?
So I just want one thing to say is we have a nurse at this time, and she has done an excellent job. She has been going to different schools, if they're in medical and so on and so forth. She's right on top of it, getting home to Sharon, going to the school. And as far as every school has a binder with information on so many different things. And then if you need anything, Carmela would be, she'll get right on top of it. And right now she is finishing up the nutrition. And Thursday we'll be doing bacon pizzas with the class to teach them a lot of stuff. And but if you guys have anything, any concerns or whatever, she's right on top of it. She pulls stuff like boom, boom, boom. I told her I think she's excellent. I said she informed us all the time. She's really good.
Thanks again.
Rico.
We're doing our board reports, a condensed version of our board reports. So, and then you open yourself up for any community questions.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rico Tello. I just am the IT director of the district. Since the last time we worked on a couple of things, our internet connection wasn't very well through this weather lately. I was able to contact Acorn Wireless just in case for emergencies. I thought Monday we were going to have to call them in and have it hook us up, but actually came back up, but I got to talk with them and they said that they'll be ready if we need it at any point in time. That's probably the biggest thing we worked on since the last board meeting. Any questions?
So we don't have internet really consistent in our classroom right now. Can you tell us why? I mean, we're not able to do a lot of our programs, or children aren't able to access their internet, their Chromebooks.
Yeah, we have, right now, we have our internet connection it's a wireless feed kind of, basically. It goes from our wellness center, we have an antenna, goes to the top of Bald Hill. And then from there, it goes to 3 more tower sites that are on top of mountaintops, all the way to HCOE on the coast, and then they send us through to the internet. And our providers geolinks, and they don't really, whenever there's storms and stuff, when something happens, they can't, a lot of times it's hard for them to access those towers. And we don't really have a lot of options right now to get any other internet in here. We're working with Acorn Wireless to get one. It sounds to me like they're getting very close to have a secondary internet connection that will help keep everybody up. So that whenever there is storms and stuff and snow and all that, apparently like the power outages will end up messing up their tower equipment, and they get up there when they can, geolink does to fix it.
Thank you. I just didn't know if the superintendent was aware that we're not always able to access our reading program nor the children's Chromebook on a daily basis, our basis. But it's because we're rural.
Yeah, we're hoping it'd be nice to get a fiber line through the valley.
That is gonna happen. Right, that's on the burner, right, to get a redundant line, so.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we just got it. It takes, talking to Acorn, they have a quicker fix right now to get another connection to us, because the fiber coming here, it goes to Orleans and to, I think, Reading and the coast, and so we have to get it down 299 down 96, or try to get it from 96 down. But there's no fiber to here or any other type of internet other than going across towers all the mountaintops all the way up to the coast right now. Potentially we'll be able to get it soon, hopefully.
Thank you. Any questions for Rick? More questions?
Maybe it is. This is one.
That one worked.
Thank you, Rico. Good job.
Will Hustler, Resource Safety Officer.
Will Hustler, it is your turn.
Oh. So biggest
Jeez.
So last week we started the closed campus for Hoopa High School and Captain John. So basically last week was warning the kids, telling them, educating, big learning curve. All the kids were saying, I'm a good kid. I never have disciplinary. Why can I leave for lunch? You know, so, and they're like, you know, why am I being punished for the stoners? This is the only reason I heard was the board closed the campus because we're stoners, you know, being in the park, being on the river. So why are we being punished? I'm a good kid. So, so my question is to the board, do we want to create a policy for students that have good attendance, good grades, they're juniors and seniors, so they can leave at lunchtime on a permit? You know, they get their parents to sign, they can leave for lunch, come back, you know, or do you want to blanket it, then nobody leaves the campus? You know, so that's my question to the board. I want to go off what you guys recommend me to enforce.
Well, I can report that the reason why we closed it for safety reasons, as you know, America and the world are going through issues that that concern us. And the purpose, and please chime in, colleagues, community, please chime in. The purpose was to safeguard our children, to keep them safe from outside influence. Can that be done 100% perfectly? It is our intent that can be. The reality is reality. Turn on the TV, turn on your computers, and you'll read otherwise, I'm certain. The intent, officer, was to close the campus for the security of our children.
Yes. I have a question. Have you noticed increased vandalism and graffiti as a result of us having closed the campus?
No, it's been going on all year. Bathrooms, in high school, and tagging here and there. But since last week, I haven't seen an increase. Like, Doug?
No, I would say it's been, like you said, it's been noticeable all year. I don't see any increase from the close campus.
So then also, one of the issues that came up, Leah Jackson from PUD called me last week and said that her employees interrupted 4 high school students during lunchtime last Tuesday. They were trying to break into the vault, the water vault down at below the firehouse, which if that's broken into, it jeopardize our whole water system for the whole valley. So I've been doing more patrols down there, chasing them out of there. And child police has been going down there doing patrols. So, but there is a lot of holes to be found in our system, So construction, we close the gate, construction guys come in, or they get deliveries, they get to close the gate. Then we have the opening, Highway 96 near the football field, they go out that way. There's a lot of holes we're fixing. I've got complaints from JW Mooney on the campus from our kids breaking into houses, van house. So I've been patrolling, check the Dolby house has been broken into. So they're going everywhere to. So if we say to keep them safe, we'll keep them on. I've been getting help from Hooper Travel Court last week, Travel Police. I haven't seen Travel Police this week. So I got help from Travel Court today. Plus they're using our second safety officer. We're doing our best to keep them on. So. Yeah.
Am I to understand that all of the campuses are closed, that visitors have to check in and out?
They should be, they like Melanie, they should be coming in, checking in the front and getting the visitor badge, what the purpose is there, what I'm gonna go see and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Because I was made aware that there was a community member who reached a campus, reached a classroom full of students, verbally attacked a teacher and left without any.
Did she have the support of that administrator?
I didn't know that this happened. What was it? This week, last week?
I believe it's last week.
Last week in the Scoop Elementary?
Trinity Valley.
Oh, Trinity Valley.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was never informed of that, so, but I can look into it because we do have cameras. You tell me if was it in the Giddings wing upper class or was it?
I am not aware of what classroom it was.
Okay. Definitely, I'll check into it because our camera systems do back up for 21 days, so I can go back and then I can ask.
Because I don't know if this person breached the safety, as Mr. Tilton has indicated, and if so, then we definitely need to tighten up because that person could have done more than the could have created a horrible situation other than what she already did and traumatizing a classroom full of students as well as
the teacher. Okay. Definitely all of that first thing in the morning, go up there and look into that. So yes.
What is happening about the drugs in the school system? What kind of things are you doing to prevent that happening?
You know, we're doing marker searches, we so like, it's less for us as a school official to reasonable suspicion, so we are checking bags, we do make select goods, we do make suspensions when we find it, you know, then offer them to the wellness center, some more counseling, you know, kind of, you know, we're not trying to just send them to prison, you know. So, but right now with Title 4B, you know, if you know about that issue, they're going to repel the. So that's kind of stopping me from citing kids to trouble court. So that's what I do. If we can send them to trouble court, I don't send them to Humboldt County because then they don't get a juvenile record if they go to trouble court. So, you know, I tried to get some drug sniffing dogs up here, but we are so far behind the red curtain. There's a firm out of San Francisco and LA, they won't come up here. So we were gonna have to find somebody with, which I'm doing research, trying to find another company, either from Oregon or Nevada, see if they'll come here too. Because Humboldt County Sheriff's Department will not bring their dogs into the sniffs.
So my other question is there vaping allowed at on the
No.
school ground?
But it is very, it's becoming a problem.
Yeah.
All sites, I mean, elementary, high school, it's not allowed. Not yet. We found some technical difficulties with them when I was originally given the bid. They were supposed to be mounted like with the batteries, but now they said they had to be wired, so that's gonna have to come back to the board just because we're gonna find an electrician to do a little longer process. Yes.
Hey, well, so I've been places where most people haven't, and I've looked at a lot of our youth here, and it's an identity crisis. One of the things about destroying property, tagging, all of that. We need to improvise some kind of program that teaches our children that they don't belong to an area code. They don't belong to a color. That's a click thing. And where I've been, if you belong to one of those, they'll pick you out and you're going to do what they tell you to do. So these kids need to be educated about the gang banging, the tagging, all of that ain't cool, dude.
Yeah.
Because once you're in the system, they're going to know who you are.
As a high school teacher, I'd like to thank you for what you're doing, but also point to the board the difficulty of attempting to close the campus as porous as eyes. The work that Willie's doing and I'm intending to do is made additionally difficult with the absence of a principal. So that could be filled with an interim or a substitute or something to help with the administrative side, because that is a strong part of this enforcement of the safety that you want to see. So just speaking to that, God was already difficult and it made it harder with that circumstance. So thank you.
Has there been any significant decrease in tardies coming back from lunch? Has that been noticeable at all yet?
I would probably be better answered by Amber or Felisa, but
Yeah.
I definitely have noticed, just in general, less kids are leaving campus. Obviously with the rule, we're still, every day we still are, we have a crew, and I've definitely noticed that the presence is there because I'll see them try to go their usual ways. They'll see somebody there, come back, and now they're searching for different areas to try to leave campus. Like Mr. Anderson pointed out, there's a lot of ways to leave our campus. So having it 100% locked down, I don't, unless we had 30, 40 more people available to work, I don't ever see it being completely, if somebody wants to get on or off our campus, it's going to always be possible. But I do think the enforcement has helped. I think as we go along farther and the students start to realize the consequences that are, coming with that, I think that it'll get better and better as we move forward.
One thing I have to Doug, they also open the gym at lunchtime. That's taking them to go in to shoot hoops or just to hang out. So that has helped a lot too with students. There was somebody right here first.
Yeah, I graduated about 28 and a half years ago, and we were perfect angels. So I moved to that the campus has to be closed again. But now that it is, I think that what you said at the very first time we spoke today is that Why not have a good student voucher? You know, why not have a actual hall monitor in the students themselves? Once you get 2 weeks of a hall monitor, once you get 2 weeks of looking at your own students, freshman to senior, then you could have a good kid voucher for that lunch off campus. And so the realization that, yeah, there are good kids, yeah, there are bad kids. Why not help? I know you have another employee as well. Why not help with the students helping themselves? Recognize the vaping, recognize the destruction of our property, because that's very important that they take ownership of their own school. They take pride in their own school. And so the realization that, you know, yeah, you could have good kid vouchers to get off campus in 2 to 3 weeks.
Christie.
And we're located on the campus, and trust me, we've seen a lot of it. Like, I have an office, they literally like groups of kids walk right by my window every single day. And since it's been closed, I haven't seen that. I mean, I think it's helping a little bit. And I have a couple girls who I'm sure are not happy. They're seniors, you know, they're stuck on campus. They're 18 and can sign themselves out now. But I think until we get control of that group, you know, because right now I've seen a few of them like trying to sneak off, and we kind of watch, like they'll be sneaking around trying to hurry up and get off campus. But in the past, there was such large groups of them, we didn't know, like, are they ones that are supposed to be coming off, you know, and we're over on the main campus and we don't know if we should like, no, you guys should go back over there because we didn't know.
Yeah.
Right now, we know like they're not supposed to be coming off the campus. So it's a little bit, I think, helps because then we also know too, like, hey, they're not supposed to be coming over here. We can kind of say something.
Yeah.
And I think once you get control of that, then maybe start rethinking the you know, good attendance and good whatever. I don't know. I don't want to say good kids because I think all of them have that potential, but who are following the rules that then they could start earning that back. But I think it's good to get control of it first and start figuring out like those kids that need that help. You know, how can we serve them at the school first?
Thank you.
Can't you guys do like concession stand stuff? Because most of the kids really don't want them. If they're gonna have clothes.
I did have some kids come forward and say, hey, the lunches, you know, the high school lunches, and they're like, well, sometimes they're not. They're like, oh yeah, I didn't bring something to snack because I have a lunch menu, but then you get there, it's not there. The items change, or the lunch they say, oh, we ran out of that last week, or the order didn't come in. And I said,
do a nutrition
so
break then?
it should be, I mean, but then where it said you can't sell certain things because it's.
Yeah, that's.
During lunch.
It competes with that. But I did tell some kids that if you have complaints, bring them to the front office of the high school, and then we can send them to Becky. You know, that you have to voice to get changed, so. And some kids said they would.
Okay, any other questions for Willie? Thank you, Willie. Appreciate it very much.
Transportation operation. Missy, are you available? Going once? Missy here, she wants in.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
I might be, important thing to do, it's 6:45, 7:15, I might be gone during my time.
Missy, can we squeeze her in, or do you wish to take?
Any questions for me for maintenance and transportation? Yeah, I'm your maintenance and transportation operations director for the district. My office is open pretty much 24 hours a day. If you'd like to ask me any questions, I'm sure you have a lot in regards to the last few shutdowns, road closures, any of that. I don't know that the weather itself didn't explain itself, but if you have any questions of why we had to shut down, the weather was pretty much the reason. Anybody have?
I just want to say two things. One is, I hear there's more students up on Bald Hill now, and will there be transportation up there? You don't have to answer that right this second, but curious about that.
Sure, when I get 5 or more, I've been looking for babies on Bald Hill for a long time. Been waiting, but I've heard of 3 so far, and we have been accommodating that. So when I hear of more babies, bring them, and I will gladly.
Part-time up there, or I know of a 4th grader who's part-time up there.
Okay, I haven't heard from them yet, but I'd be glad to hear that family, and I'd be glad to start addressing.
there might end up being 2, at least for this year.
Great, my office is open 24 hours a day, come on. First I'm here, but I can hear from you.
I also just want to ask you and the board, I think you guys are probably hopefully already doing this for a delayed start whenever we have
Yes,
snow
ma'am.
days. Perfect.
That is part of one of mine, but I don't know if it's gonna come up in a later topic. But yes, that has been talked about, that is going into place, we have a big meeting on that, I'm sure that the rest of the superintendent and everybody else will agree, we are going to that. It hasn't happened here before, but we finally got a winter, and it is time we move forward with what the rest of the world does and other people offer, and that is in the works.
Yay, good, thank you.
Yeah.
Karen, is that okay? Yeah.
We have a copy of my board report. The follow-up that I have is that our Orleans Elementary School team won. What are you looking at? I gotta judge it.
Okay, it's up, yeah.
It's on. I know that all of our schools at KT did really well at the boys JC's tournament, and Orleans was one of them. We won the C division, so that was huge for us. Are there any questions for me? I'd just like to say I'm very proud of Orleans. They're the only one school that has all their immunizations up to date.
Erica?
Erica Tracy Poliet. I'm the Indian Ed Director. I've been here since October. I unfortunately missed the last board meeting, so I might share a little bit of both months and had a death in my family, so I was out of state when we met last. One thing I did want to share and highlight, just because I don't think it was shared earlier, but it was in my February board report, was about our junior high students as well. So iChat had reached out and we've been collaborating on some of our specials for the junior high, which has been great. And I'm getting to know some of our students, but it's very, very apparent. And I just want to echo more so that as we're talking about Rainbow Coalition and trainings and all of those, if we need it at the elementary school. I've already been a part of one incident that took place, and there was some good conversations and I think growth that came from that situation. But I think there are individuals in many different areas and all of these different classrooms and programs that are working hard and doing work to make our students feel safe, but that's not the norm. And so I know that we should all do better. But I did want to highlight that I had shared that in the February board report, because we're looking at doing some regalia repair and doing different cultural activities. And we needed to have that conversation of how are we going to create a safe space for students that don't identify with one gender or the other, or maybe fluid, or may on one day decide to go and check out what one group is doing versus another group. And so we've tried to make that as accommodating as possible, and it's been great and a learning experience for all of us. But I just wanted to highlight that as part of that previous report, just because that's such a heavy topic this time. Other than that, things are moving. Our Title VI grant is going to be due very soon. So community, please be on the lookout for Indian Parent Advisory Committee announcement soon for next year's Indian Ed grant and our budget. We did complete our Indian student count. We came in at 820 students reported out of 956. Thank you to Billy, huge help, and Tawny Kane, who helped us to get all of our 506 forms down to the wire to be able to count all the students that we possibly could. Any questions?
I would just like to speak on behalf of the middle school at Trinity Valley, that we would love to have you as more of a presence. And I'm sure that I'm on behalf of the elementary staff as well. We would just love to have more of you guys on our campus.
Awesome. Yes. We can make that happen. One thing that we didn't get to do, I know we did some of our community family culture art nights, and we had just started right before break, and then we didn't get to finish. The administrator there was wanting to push the date back, so hopefully in the spring we'll get to for sure.
I'm just
do
speaking
it.
on behalf of teachers, that
Okay,
the
gotcha.
teachers want, and the
Perfect.
staff want you guys there.
Awesome. Yes.
And so what was that number, 800?
Yes, 820. 820 K-12 with a 506 form on file, which means that the student has a roll number or a grandparent or parent has.
Sorry, what was the total number again?
820 out of 956.
9,000, thank you.
Yep. We also had tribal consultation today. That went well. Thank you, tribal council members that are here, present and head board. That was very productive, and board members that participated. We're looking forward to getting a Europe tribal consultation on schedule very soon. And then same for kind of. Wow. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Hello, Lucy Wargrove. I'm the director for the ACES program for the district. Orleans, Wichita, and Trey. We struggle for staff in Newport. I brought in my family. And, so we have a site lead there that's filled, 4 advisor positions, and I sub 2 of them constantly. Hopefully, not hopefully, we will be filling the other one, so I'll only have to sub one of those positions. And at Trinity Valley, my site lead there is a sub, and she is an employee, a district employee who graciously comes and works additional hours in the after school program. We have 3 advisors there. I have 1 sub there that subs the advisor position regularly. And then Wichita, we have 2 positions there. 1 site lead is filled, 1 advisor is vacant. I recently filled that position temporarily. Not sure if it will be filled permanently. The Orleans site, we have 1 site lead and 1 advisor that is vacant. I fill that occasionally with a sub. Anybody have any questions for me? Thank you.
Not here. And Hoopa Elementary. Report.
Much has been said this evening that is very good, and we are working to make sure that we are addressing continually the needs of students and staff that arise. We know that this is not a program we're going to change completely overnight, but we have to measure our progress, and we are making progress towards a better addressing student needs when they come from any source. So, I'm sorry.
What subject are you talking about?
I'll give you my Hoopa report.
Oh, yeah, I know what you were talking about. What is your subject of your report?
I'm giving just a brief update on everything that's taking place at Hoopa Health. So I noticed that the March portion was not included, so there's the March portion for the packet. We continue to work to improve identifying students that are at risk and addressing their needs in a more timely fashion. We continue to work to identify students that are behaviorally at risk and address means to support the students in improving in those behaviors, but also making sure that the classrooms are safe for teachers and other students to learn and instruct in. There's a February one that is in the packet and a March one that didn't make it. So. And we continue to press forward and trying to find ways to address some of the needs of the middle school students. And as we are looking forward, we're going to contemplate, the schedule that is in place and whether we need to change the structure of the schedule so that our students have something that's more consistent. Mondays seem to be a little chaotic for them as they have a different schedule than the Tuesday through Friday. But we're going forward each day, each week. We are trying to get our site councils to meet regularly, and we have a meeting coming up on the 21st. We're going to start discussing, hopefully our 22-23 site plan is approved tonight, and that will allow us to then be caught up and we can start working on our 23-24 site plan. So if anybody's interested in providing input, please come join us at a site council meeting. And we will also be accessing information via surveys and other community avenues. Any question? Yes.
And just so everyone's aware, as per our contract, and the district with Clear Humboldt, in the contract, we've written a monthly meeting with Hoopa L staff to do a training, just a short training. And so I was wondering, where are y'all in that with following through with the communication with Clark Doolin so that he can come and do those trainings monthly?
And Kirsten has scheduled a meeting. She's the assistant principal over K4. She's the one that had arranged that meeting to be in February. The first one at our site, some of our staff attended the ones that were taking place at the high school. But we had one scheduled for February and it got snowed out. So she has reached out, and I think there's one that's about 3 weeks out, but I don't have the exact date on that in April.
I have a question. Are you aware today that a lot of students didn't come because it was art and they decided to stay home because of not wanting to go to art?
I am aware that there's a lot of students that are selecting to not participate in art.
Because of why? What's
Because
going on?
because of perceptions of acceptance from the teacher. And so as we're looking at a new plan for having students access art, we're trying to create other options.
Instead of making that person be accepting the students?
We want them to accept, we want everybody to be accepted, and we want the adults to have language that creates that acceptance.
But instead of making sure that happens, you're gonna create something different? Is that what I
No.
heard you say?
No, we're gonna do both. We're gonna work with what we have while we build something better.
While our students are just getting learned out to different classrooms or in the office or whatever, because you don't have a handle on your information.
So I can go ahead and follow the district's guidelines for helping staff members to improve or find a happier place to be. But a couple of teachers have already approached and asked if they could go ahead and be responsible for providing art to their own students, and they have received that permission. So we're supporting the teachers who are making the decision to do that. Yes, we also have a very qualified art teacher, credentialed art teacher on our staff.
Yeah, but
We're trying to build that in more.
And I know that, but that's not the person that is in question.
You're talking about
I'm talking about.
corrected behavior that exists.
I'm
That's not
talking
acceptable.
about her relationship with the students and why they don't want to go to her.
And I may not ever be able to change that person, but I can offer the pathway to improvement.
Because it's not getting any better, it's getting worse.
Yes.
Might that pathway be opening the door to a safe exit?
That is very much part of the conversation. Yes.
You can't do it. You
Yes.
can't do it.
I can't divulge everything that
I'm
I
not
said or done.
expecting you
Yeah,
to.
no, but yes, that is.
Making generalization. they can't do it. That's always allowing the path for a happier existence.
Yes.
Another.
Oh,
Any other questions? Oh, yes.
I appreciate what you have done as far as addressing the concerns with the art t-shirt. Like I mentioned before, there are things that we want changed and maybe they are not happening as fast as we would like them to. But you're aware of it and you're working on something to be changed there. Also, regarding the site council, we would love to see people at the site council. We have had meetings and have had very little parent or community turnout. And we need your help. We need to help to make our schools the place that they need to be, safe and providing an education for our students.
yeah, I'm going to step in and stop the conversation about, because we're getting really specific. And that we really can't do that without that person.
Thank you.
Given notice.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I would just like to address the site council issue, and that is, I have a plea and that we have better communication, because I have been elected to site council and I have a 2-year cycle. And if Rose Leisure was here, we would all get an earful about how out of compliance our site council is right now. And so I just feel compelled to ask for the law to be followed and for the
That's a discussion we have to have.
that's so I just, if we know when the meetings are gonna be.
They're
then-
posted
then we'll
and
do
they
that.
are required by the Brown Act. And this may be the first time in my lifetime that I have ever had a staff member say that they were not informed rather than a parent.
Right.
So now you see how I have felt for 30 years.
Any other questions?
Sorry.
Kirsten had to go home. She was ill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she left early.
Hi, I'm Teresa Mondragon, Assistant Principal of the upper grades at Hoopa Elementary. My board report starts with a February recap. Basketball season was busy and we did have to reschedule or cancel some of our games, but we still got a good season in. The science fair was held on February 17th. Community turnout was sadly really low. We also had a spaghetti feed for the 7th grade basketball team fundraiser, and the turnout for that was on the same night. It was really low, but they did manage to raise a couple $100 for that. As far as the science fair goes, I wanted to congratulate Mateo Ruiz, who was our school winner, and we'll move on to the next level. So, congratulations to Priscilla Dolly Moon, who is a 5th grader who was our school spelling bee winner. And he was so excited. I wish you could have seen her. She was just glowing. It was so cute. Our first upper grade staff meeting was canceled due to weather and snow, and just there was no school. In March, our first PBIS meeting, on the beginning of my report, it says will be held, but it was held. We had a good turnout and I have several new team members. I'm really excited about that. We had lost a few team members over the year or two, and we now have a new team. We plan to re-meet again next Monday. They really are eager to get things going, as am I. So we'll be teaching our expectations in the classroom. Paige is familiar with that phase of it. We're starting that on our parent contact days, which lend themselves well because there's no SFA reading program on those days, and it gives us the time we need to get the SFA expectations in. We're planning to achieve full implementation of tier 1 by next year and hopefully move on to tier 2. There was some implementation in place prior to the pandemic. but a lot of it kind of fell to the wayside when school was closed for the pandemic. So we're trying to revive that. We are going to be having grade 5 through 8 staff meetings on the third Monday of each month, so we can be more cohesive and have better planning. Feel free to join us. And we're going to address issues such as report cards, which have been a difficulty for the junior high grades, the climate and cutting of class, which is an issue in the junior high with the frequent class changes. Boys basketball season wrapped up. They participated in the JC's tournament. They didn't win, but they had a really good time. I also wanted to send a huge thank you to the board and to Jennifer for approving our increase in sub pay. Just since that happened, we already have 2 new subs on board and bring good programs to our kids instead of always having to scramble to get done what we can. And at the end of the day at 9 p.m. still not being done. So I'm really grateful to that. I feel very heard and valued. And I just wanted to say, I really appreciate you for doing that. I know it was a big jump and it's appreciated. The second trimester is coming to an end. It's really hard to believe that we're 2/3 of the way through the school year. It's been an eventful year. We've encountered fire, flood, to some degree, snow. We've been through it all this year, and we still pulled through. And I'm really proud of everyone, their flexibility and their tenacity and getting through some personal and professional difficulties that this has caused for us. That's it for me. Are there any questions? Yes.
For those of us who don't speak acronym, what is TBIS?
PBIS, Positive Behavior Incentives and Support. It's our district-wide and in fact, fairly county-wide and perhaps even nationwide right now, but many schools are adopting it as a means of improving school climate, behavior, reducing teacher burnout, and it also increases academic engagement for students. So we would also expect our test scores to go up. You're welcome. Thank you for bringing that up. I should have mentioned. Anyone else? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Jason Henderson.
I don't have anything really to report, but just that my Jack Norton Elementary School basketball team had an outstanding time at the Crescent City basketball tournament. And I would like to thank the superintendent and Carmi and the school board for getting that through, and Missy and Billy for getting it through last minute, because we didn't know when we were being invited. It was a last minute deal. And the Yurok tribe for putting us up in the Redwood Hotel for 2 nights, 3 rooms. We wouldn't have been able to go without the help of the Yurok tribe. So that's all I want to state. Everything else is in my report. But it was so awesome because the Hoopa basketball team was there, and yeah, they all had fun. It was good.
And the road's open.
And the road, yeah, the road was open. Yeah, it was snowy, but we made it home. So that's great. That's it. Any questions?
Happy Halloween.
Under my board report, we had a really fun field trip today. Our students went to Cal Poly for Right Beginnings tour. They got to eat in the cafeteria, and they did such a really good job of representing their school and their families, and it was just a really wonderful experience. Mr. O'Neill and I think that's great things to say about what they did there. So I was really when we moved into the closed campuses for our school site, you know, we have to travel to the high school to get our lunches. So it's been a challenge, a little bit of challenge. to get those kids back to us. We have implemented the cuts and the tardies and let families know. And I'm hoping, I would like us to improve on our policy at Captain John and perhaps go from the 3 tardies to a cut so that they'll serve in-house like lunch detention. I think that will help mitigate them from really leaving, not coming back. Because we do go to the cafeteria to cover them at lunch, but we have to, the students walk to and from the 2 different school sites. So that's the only thing that's a little bit different on our school site, but we feel like it's moving in a positive direction for our kids. Is there any questions?
No question.
Yes.
I'm curious, what are your plans without an outreach next year?
Well, next year, we are probably going to have to really utilize our outside partners. And so, we have a really strong relationship with Two Feathers, that brought in the Cal Poly Rebound Project Rebound people. They're going to start. So we have a lot of different people that will help to support our students. And I remember before my very first year at Captain John, we didn't have the benefit of Trisha there. And so, it was, so we did a lot of that outreach. Our hope is to always meet the needs of our students. And we've been able to bring in a couple of grants to.
Would also help as parents, not just yours, I could already say, I didn't know what Fish did, I had no idea. I'm a foster parent, nobody ever told me about any of this stuff. So if you guys put out a brochure to tell us, because she's of no, I wouldn't think of going to her for help for anything. So, not, but I mean.
But like a
but we're not
brochure
advertising what services are available. But I think that's for all.
I'd like to see more, when I was growing up, we went on field trips to different businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
And it stimulates the minds of young kids. You go to Green Diamond or you go to another business, a restaurant business, and I don't see that anymore. And, not all kids might not take interest in it because of the phone deal that's going on, but you're going to get 3 or 4 kids that might say, hey, look, you know what, I might want to pursue a career in that type of stuff. So, these kids need to be stimulated, their minds need to be opened up. How was that bridge built? How was that tree cut? Did we replant? Or this different aspects all around in general, so they have a clear picture that there's other things out there.
Yeah, I appreciate that comment. And we do have some field trips moving forward, but I think that we can pursue even more field trips that will give our students more opportunity. I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Hello, Douglas Beckstead, Vice Principal of Valley High School. So earlier today, Will spoke about people starting a closed campus beginning on 3/6/23. So one of the tasks we, as the school became a closed campus, we have more kids on our campus at lunch. So one of the things we've been tasked with as a staff is kind of figuring out what it is we can get our kids to activities to do. So we have kids wanting to stay on campus. I think we'll talk about earlier lately, I've been opening up the gym at lunch just to allow kids to come in, shoot hoops and just have a place to interact. But we've also put into the works a start of a 3-on-3 basketball tournament or a basketball season that's going to be going on. We're creating teams. Right now, we're just in the sign up stage, having teams created, and seems like it's going to, a lot of kids have shown interest in it. I think it's going to be a great way to keep our students engaged. And so that, instead of not always wanting to leave campus, now they'll have some reason to want to stay. So again, at this point, we're just signing up, but it seems like it's going to be successful, just based on the numbers that we're getting interested. Some other things that have been going on at the high school. We have a student, a junior, Omar Dean, who currently has a ceramic sculpture being shown at Morris Graves Museum in Eureka. I think it's going to be shown for the next couple of weeks. So if you have a chance to go to Eureka, and it's the picture of it in the board report, pretty amazing work. So if you have a chance to check it out in Eureka, you should go by and look at it. I'm not going to get too deep into my board report, but as most of you know, I'm pretty involved in athletics. So I always kind of like to do a little sports update. So spring sports have started at Upa High, which includes baseball and softball. The weather's made it a little tough for baseball and softball to get going, as Ryan can attest to. But our softball team has been able to get one game in at Fortuna. And I think they were supposed to play Thursday at home, but with the weather, I don't think that game's going to happen. But they do have a tournament planned here in a couple weeks to go up to Medford, and hopefully, get off to another section winning season. Our softball program, as I'm sure everybody knows, has been very successful. So we're hoping to continue that this year. Our baseball team has had multiple games also rained out, but they were able to get in one double hitter against St. Bernard's. Weren't too successful, but that will probably be one of the tougher teams we see all season. We're going to be starting to play some teams that are more competitive with us, including paid for Cappy Camp, more of our schools are our size. So we're hoping to see some success in baseball. The other two sports going on right now are track and golf. Track has not started, or at least they haven't had a meet yet, but this weekend they're heading to Reading at Shasta College for their first meet. So I know Benny and that group is really excited to get going. And then our golf team they've had a rain out this week, but last week they had their first event at Beaupre. And we had a freshman shoot a score of 87, Brian Richards, which for anybody, that's a great score. But for a freshman out there, I would say I can't, at least I've followed golf for quite a while. I don't remember another student shooting that well, especially as a freshman. So, we're really excited to follow his career. I think he's going to be a student that can win some events, which would be pretty amazing, considering the size of some of the other bigger schools. That's really about all I wanted to touch on. Everything else kind of in the report. Does anybody have any questions?
I want to thank you for the basketball thing. My grandson Jaden is thrilled about it.
He was on the first team to sign up.
Yeah. Really thrilled.
Yeah, since I've started in this district at the high school for 14 years, I've had 8 principals, 8 administrators, 9 if I count you twice, Jim. You're doing a great job. You're doing additional work beyond the work with kids. I'm really glad to have this working at the high school and the additional duties that you had to take on. You're doing a great job. And I'd just like to make the point that when we fly our positions for vacancies in admin in June, I might say we get what we get. If we fly them earlier, or we get somebody who's new as a new administrator and give them time to mature in their career before they have to take on somebody else's job, which is kind of forcing the bulb. So to speak, I've seen that with other vice principals who are forced into these situations. And it's not always been successful, and it's always a challenge. So thank you for handling it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'd also like to do a quick note too and recognize Mr. Douglas in his sports athleticism awareness. I'm able to do the basketball game on the radio, and I'm happy to announce we're going to try and do the 23rd softball game on the radio. So be listening for that. Also, I want to send a shout out. I stepped away for a moment, but when Ms. Moyle was speaking, I want to thank her and her team because she actually goes to other schools for the what? Oh, okay.
It was such a gift to be able to go to your other school.
Yeah, and so while I was driving the Jack Norton team, I seen her and her team there, and just the coordination of special education is very much needed. I think it attest to, and so the realization that the Woodstock and Jack Norton school that should continue. Good job.
Hi, Kimberly Moon, I'm with Trustees Teachers Association. So I would like to start, Jennifer, with just asking a question about the registered nurse. Can you give me a little background about?
Can't talk about personnel,
No, why this position is on this list?
because it's a classified position that's gone unfilled for 3 years.
Okay, so it's not certificated.
No,
Okay. Okay, that's one thing I wanted answered. Another is, I know we've been talking, I've been in communication with a lot of you about non-reelect. And there's a couple different things about that. One is that it reflects badly on the employee, but it also gives our district a reputation. So what I'm asking is that if you want to get rid of any employees right now, that you give them the opportunity to give you a letter of resignation. It's a win-win. You get what you want. It doesn't reflect badly on them, and you guys can rehire them. I mean, I understand that we have to do this, and they understand that too. They know that they need to reapply, but the non-reelect, that follows them from this district and other districts, and it's almost like being fired. It's like the equivalent of being fired. So if that's not the intent here, then let's give them the opportunity to send a letter of resignation. And furthermore, I also wanted to touch on the LGBTQ because there are some issues coming up with staff right now. And I just want to know, I want to educate you guys that there in the CTA that I sent out to certificated staff, it says, what if I am being harassed by students or parents? And this is any staff member, it doesn't matter their orientation, but specifically in reference to the LGBTQ+ community. Based on successful litigation, CTA believes that the employer is liable for the discriminatory conduct of parents when the employer adopts or ratifies that conduct. So for example, if parents demand that students be removed from a lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or queer teacher's classroom simply because of the teacher's sexual orientation, gender expression, or gender identity, and the district accedes to this demand, we believe that the DFEH, which is if you want to know, it's the Department of Fair Employment and Housing, we believe that the DFEH would find that to be an unlawful employment practice, and this would be considered unlawful discrimination. So in order to get ahead of this, I'm asking that we educate staff, we educate administrators, we educate all staff, all teachers, so that we don't have to ever go down that road. We can't afford litigation for one, but this is an easy fix. I mean, if we all get ahead of it right now, I think that, and I know there are some things going on right now that some of you may or may not be aware of, but I am trying to avoid litigation. So I'm asking that we do have this kind of training. And also, I'm working on the calendar. I don't have class this week, so I'm hoping to have it by the end of the week to Trish. No, to Dana or Emily. Sorry. And the last thing I want to ask is, can you enlighten me about what is happening with the high school principal so that I can give some explanation to staff about what can be expected in the future?
I'm not allowed to talk about personnel in an open forum such as this.
Can we get a timeline?
Yes, you can have a timeline. It's not available at this time.
Okay, so I know that they're asking and they're curious and they're missing their main support person. So I just want to know what I can tell them to alleviate anything that's going on with them right now.
You call me, but I can't divulge anything. Can't tell any of you what's going on. That's the great beauty of this job. It sucks. Okay, I wish I could, because I would. I'd stand up here right on that table and I tell you, but I can't. The way this is set up, so sorry, I can't.
Okay, no worries. I just wanted to know if I can pass anything along for you to them. Okay. Yes, sir.
In addition to what you were saying about protecting employees of the district from litigation, if an adult staff member outs a student to even their parents, that's a violation of FERPA, and you could get sued. And the district could get sued, even to their parents. So just to avoid litigation, because that's bad for the district.
Yeah. I mean, I'm encouraging training for all of us.
I'd like to say something to him. I agree with Mr. Anderson. I think that really bothered me by a staff member supposedly doing that because it is FERPA. And my thing is, what's the difference between two people who like each other, whether they're the same sex or whatever, versus another boy and girl getting hickeys in the corner, but they don't get reported? That's my thing. I'm like, so that's, to me, that's discrimination. I don't like it. It is discrimination. Just FYI.
So hello, I am the new president of the CFCA 347. I had found that out about 2-3 weeks ago. So I just have a really quick little thing that I was going to see because between helping the ambulance going out and a regular job. It's like, oh. Okay, so my name is Berla Jackson Robin, and I'm the chapter president. I said that. Our chapter executive board member is myself as chapter president. Trisha Fitznerrow, she's the chapter vice president. Billy Sanderson is our chapter secretary. Berlene Max, our chapter treasurer. Haley Aubrey is chapter public relations officer. Maria Ulrich is the chapter steward. Well, Walter Simpson is chapter steward also. Our representatives for the school are Dina Moles for Trinity Valley, Tasha Marshall for Orleans, Tanisha Doolittle for Jack Norton and Witchpet. Irma Tilton said she would do Hoopa High. And right now, Hoopa Elementary is vacant due to the representative because she took a different job. So we'll have to get that together. Our recent meeting was on March 9th. In the meeting, the members approved the initial bargaining successor term for approved the initial for 7/1/23 through 6/30/26. Hopefully this will be on the board's next April agenda. And then we're looking forward to start negotiations between KTJUSD and the CFDA as soon as it's approved. And then we'd like to say that all of our members in December received a $50 gas voucher as an incentive, and we believe that it was well deserved by all of them. And that's about it for now. So we're getting ready to negotiations.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good evening, I'm Scott Appert, Special Projects Coordinator. I don't have a lot to report since the last time I was here, but I do have, what I do have to report is kind of a big deal. So the templates were released for the California Community Schools Grant Initiative the day before we left for break, and then we had a great snowstorm of 2023 that put things back, but we are on a feverish pace to get those applications in, which are due on the 21st, Monday, the 21st at midnight. And we have 2 more sites to meet with tomorrow, and things should be wrapped up prior to Friday. So we're feeling pretty good about all the archives we collected. I have to thank all the administrators that have provided me those items. There was a lot to collect to turn into that grant. And so once that's turned in, they'll go through their timeline, and hopefully we'll get some really good news. 6 of our sites will be eligible for that $6 million grant in the course of the next 5 years. So we're keeping our fingers crossed, and we've got a lot of great support from Northern Humboldt, and things are moving along great. So we're feeling good about it. So I have that to report. And the other thing, I was fortunate enough to attend the Placer County Office of Education PBIS Swiss facilitator training the weekend in between the 2 big snowstorms that came in. Thankfully, we were able to go over there for 2 days, and on the 17th, my certification should be coming in, so we can start implementing that Swiss program, which is a school-wide information systems, which will help us track data for behavioral situations and things that happen on campus. So we can better provide that data for future grants and to use that to make some decisions about how things are going and what we can do to try to address some of the needs of our students. So that's all I have. Questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know, not for you. Why aren't all of our principals here? When have a medical appointment.
Closed session? Oh, do we have public comment on closed session?
No, I'd just like to follow up on some of the position or one of the positions that's being eliminated. And Ms. Lane spoke that they haven't had a nurse position for 3 years. Would you like to have a nursing position?
Sure. It's in the best interest of the students, yes. I
It would
would.
seem that to me too. Has anyone done a survey of what nurses get paid these days? $63,000 for 220 days is pretty minimal. So you might get someone just coming out of nursing school, and then they would probably leave as soon as they had a little experience. That would be your best hope. I would encourage you, if you want a nurse, pay nurses' wages. Hire the right position, the right person for the right position, pay them the right wage. You can't go wrong with that. But when you lowball the position, you get what you have so far, which is zero. So if you would do just a cursory ones, what does a nurse get paid out at St. Joe's? What do they get paid at Potawatomi? What do they get paid over at Kamau? And I think you might find an answer there. You should have money coming up. The missionaries' wages will come off the books. So, you know, there's opportunities. But if you want skill, you got to pay for skill. Thank you.
Anything else? Before we-